Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Jason Kolker on the line, and he's a dragon slayer over at Nobody Studios. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate being here.
Oh, man. Well, good to have you on the line. And Jason, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Jason, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's what we do. Jason, what mission matters to you?
The mission that matters to me the most is actually just really building long-lasting, abundant relationships. Business really, real relationships are built on trust and value. And, the thing that matters to me in my mission is building long-lasting relationships that are abundant and where both people, creating win-win situations, whether it's personal or in the business aspect.
That's awesome. Love bringing mission-based individuals on the line to share, why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and what we can all learn from that so we grow together. So great to have you on. And I guess just to get us kicked off here, Jason, so you're in Bali today, I think you said in the warm-up, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in Bali, Indonesia. Yeah, beautiful other side of the world, but just
what's going on out there? Work or pleasure or both? I'm being nosy. Come on, we're on the podcast.
Oh, no, it's a little bit of both. It's just I have two young kids. I got married here, and just while they're young, and just the experience, you can't buy experience, and just the experience, the people here are just so beautiful. It's very spiritual here. There's 1,000-year-old energy. So and the lifestyle here, I just got a massage earlier today. I believe it cost about $11. So at a very high quality massage. So no, just the lifestyle, the cost of living, the people, everything about it. Other than the traffic, it could take an hour to go, 3 miles. But other than that, I could pick my battles. It's not a bad place to be.
Amazing. Hour to go 3 miles. Got LA beat just a little bit on that one. It could take an hour, but normally you get at least 10, or 5 or 7, but not 3.
Maybe an hour to go 5 miles, but yeah, it's slow to get anywhere on here. But it just, you have nice scenery as you go.
Amazing. Well, Jason, let's get into Nobody Studios and what you're up to. So maybe start with telling us a little bit more about your company.
Yeah, Nobody Studios is a venture studio. So if you're unfamiliar with the venture studio, it's actually a type of asset class, which is we're essentially a startup that builds other startups. So our hairy, audacious goal is to build 100 companies in the next 5 years. I could give you a couple of our kind of DNA points. One of our pieces of DNA that is core to us is that we have actually a proprietary process called Frugressive, which is a combination of aggressive and frugal. And that means that we build companies that, Adam and Jason putting money on our credit cards, asking grandma for money, actually building something. We talk about that we're crowd infused as well as we're crowd first and we're people first. So about a year and a half ago, we did a crowd fund. And the reason we did that was at towards the bottom of the list was the actual funding. The getting $100 at a time, which was our minimum, is not a very efficient way to raise capital. But what we did do is we brought out almost 1,000 new investors, people from all walks of life, millions of followers on TikTok, C-suite executives, and what that really built up our bench of people that as we go out to different verticals and build companies. We have an amazing bench of people to turn to for situational knowledge, for relationships, for the capital. The idea, as most entrepreneurs know, the idea part is easy. The execution part is hard. And so that goes into you talk about people first. Our investors include everyone from the former CEO of Coca-Cola, the former head of Facebook Gaming, half a dozen New York Times bestselling authors, executives from Twilio, Twitch, Expedia. So people with the experience and either the gray hairs or the no hairs who've actually have a lot of losses, and that's where a lot of the knowledge comes the most, or the learning comes the most in the failures. And just one of the other DNA points is what we call ourselves irrationally global. So we have investors in almost 60 countries. We feel that, if we're going into a new market, we want to have boots on the ground, and having that type of diversity in our investor base gives us really an advantage when we're ideating companies, and especially if we're going into different markets.
So this idea for Nobody Studios, where'd that come from? And this big goal you have, 100 companies, where'd that idea come from? Was that one of those you're
Well,
sitting at a restaurant kind of idea, or like where'd that come from?
No, that's our CEO, Mark McNally. Mark is a 14-time serial entrepreneur. Mark's about a third of Mark companies have been exits, and Mark always had wanted to be able to build things, simultaneously at the same time. So another word for a venture studio is a parallel startup studio. So you're able to build companies in parallel, and that allows you to start, there's a lot of sort of similar things that all companies go through in the beginning that you need to be able to execute upon to build successful companies. So if you can do that at scale, you can, build 100 companies in 5 years. And we think, you kind of laugh if you think where we thought we could do in the next 20 years. But really, but it really gives us a way of doing, high velocity company creation. And, at the end of the day, also gives a lot of, like I mentioned with the crowdfunders, the crowdfunders and the investors are not just the capital, they're ideas for us, talent, their influence, they're obviously the capital as well. But yeah, the idea itself came from Mark, who was, I know he was at a, sort of a inflection point in his life, and he was looking for the best way to make an impact on the world. And he'd been a big fan of the venture studio model for a while, which was, it's still pretty, most people don't know much about it, but yeah, it was all, to see where he wanted to have the biggest impact on his life.
Man, what an interesting idea. What an interesting concept. Any standouts in terms of companies or otherwise that you guys have been working on?
I would say one of the companies which I think is probably one of the most exciting ones, and for me personally, is, or I should say one of the most important ones is a company called Evalify. Evalify is essentially like a Carfax for IT. We met a few brilliant data scientists and inventors from IBM who had heard Mark on a podcast not too long ago. It's probably going on a couple of years ago. And they really resonated with the idea of a venture studio. And as we talked about before, the idea part is the easy part. The execution part is the hard part of company creation. And these guys, really brilliant guys, great idea. They just lack the team and the skills to get it to another level. And so they brought it to the studio. We're taking very early stage ideas from 0 to 1 and building and validating an MVP. So yeah, we met these guys very early on. They had an idea around IP and technology. And so essentially what Evalify does is it's an IP platform that takes your startup decks, plugs it into a database in 170 jurisdictions and 200 million patents, and it essentially gives you a report. So whether you're a VC and you're looking at thousands of decks a year, or you're a startup, you're a startup yourself, and you want to basically mitigate risk and de-risk the company, just to see down the road that certain technology, there could be a problem with the Samsungs or the IBMs of the world, instead of having to pay an attorney, thousands of dollars potentially for a $200 report, you're able to do a very high quality report on Evalify. And kind of, like I said, know in terms of reporting what some kind of obstacles could be down the road if you were to go with the ideas. But yeah, that's just a good idea of the ideation and just some of the ideas we're getting from the crowd. And yeah, that's
What kind of niches or industries are you looking for, like, companies from? Like, and is it specific or agnostic, or maybe give a flavor of that?
Well, so we say we're equal opportunity innovators. So
I like that. That equal opportunity innovators. I'm in. Go ahead.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't involve a lot of R&D and enterprise level sales, we're there. So we have for example, we have a big focus on health and wellness, whether it's precision medicine, sleep and dreams, biohacking. One of our first companies actually into market is a company in the plant medicine and psychedelic space called WebMD. It's essentially the WebMD of plant medicine. It's an education company around plant medicine. The space it's obviously federally, it's murky right now with the plant medicine space. We see this as, if you win the trust and the eyeballs and you're early to market, you can really build relationships with folks. And we already have a top 5% pod where we bring on, professional athletes, PhDs, neuroscientists, and just really delve into, people, not as centenarians, but we had a woman in her 90s come on talk about end of life issues and how she's benefited through plant medicine. But fintech, agritech, education, Yeah, right now we have 15 companies in development. We have 4 in the marketplace. We're actually doing a Series A right now, so we expect to speed up the creation of companies as we start to get more capitalized. But yeah, like I said, if you like that, we're definitely equal opportunity innovators.
Talk to me a little bit about the type of founders that you're looking for. Like, is there anything specific? Do they have to have some exits before, or is there any specific criteria? Or are you looking solely at kind of like the idea and the structure and the business they're pitching?
Yeah, so we're not like a accelerator or like anything like that. What we do is we actually build and create companies ourselves. So we're looking for founders who want to come into the
ecosystem, right?
System and into our ecosystem. So as I mentioned, the case of Evalify, it's really we're looking for early stage ideas. We're coming in as a studio, and we're taking a majority of the cap table. So it's definitely not for everyone.
For sure.
And so, but at the same time, if you're part of any individual company within the studio, or you're an investor, you automatically get equity across the entire portfolio. So as we start to exit companies, we think of it almost like a dividend model. As the exits start to stack up in year 2 and 3, it becomes, again, essentially like a dividend model. But we're looking for people that, at the end of the day, with our progressive model, we're looking for people who want to roll up their sleeves, work with other amazing folks, and build. And people who are focused on more, like I said, that progressive process really encapsulates everything we do. You're not going to see any exorbitantly paid executives. All decisions we make go through that kind of lens of the progressive process, and we're not worried about the color of our lobby and the things that don't matter in terms of building companies.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. I think it's a great story too. And I think what it also does is it just kind of, I wanted to make sure that was like everybody listening was aware of exactly how that worked, because there's just different ways to go about getting your idea out there and being an entrepreneur and, seeing your dream realized and whatever that particular idea was. And this is one that I don't feel, like you said in the beginning, I don't think a lot of people know about it actually. I think that a lot of times you think it has to be one way, but there's options, right?
We don't, I don't know any entrepreneurs who have one idea. So this is almost like a playground for entrepreneurs. They can, we're able to kill ideas, we're able to pause ideas, we're able to merge companies, split companies, because it's really incumbent upon us that we do these things. And so, people who are interested in maybe plant medicine, and even though they're part of another company, are able to kind of to roll up their sleeves and take part in those other companies and not only make an impact, but also be part of the upside as those companies flourish and exit.
Now you mentioned investors, and you mentioned a raise. How do people get involved, like from the investor side or otherwise? So
we're right now we're actually closing out an angel round. We're launching a Series A here in the next few weeks. So yeah, it's either through the angel, which again is closing out here as soon as we get in the first checks for the Series A, then the angel actually closes. But right now it's through those two different. Series A is, if anyone's interested, certainly happy to. I could get my information later, but we could set up a call and send them that information. We're doing a $20 million raise.
Awesome. Well, Jason, it has been great having you on the show today and getting to know a little bit more about what you're doing over at Nobody Studios, and excited to watch this thing keep on growing. And in terms of the raise, or even just following Nobody Studios, how do people connect? How do they follow up?
Yeah, Nobody Studios, I would just say the easiest way to get involved is I could certainly give up my information, Jason K, JSONK, at nobodystudios.com. The company website is Nobody Studios, NOBODY Studios.com. And you'll see on the website there's a way that people can get involved. There's a Join the Journey link on the website, whether people are interested as far as, being part of the talent pool or the investor pool. There's ways to get involved. Both of those are equally as important to us. The talent, the influence, and the capital are all three of those are equally important for us at this time. So Yeah.
Fantastic. Perfect. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll put the links in the show notes so that you can just click on them and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're releasing new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Jason, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Adam. Much appreciated.